Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 17 of my 90-day wedding photographer's workshop. Today, I'm going to be going over what's in my bag, what we carried through pretty much all of 2018 on all of our photo weddings. I'm live on Instagram and on Facebook. Facebook, you guys have the benefit of the top-down angle. Instagram, you're just going to get the straight on from the camera where I'm really overexposed. So, let's get started. All right, let me zip this up so I can set it up on the table real quick. This is my main bag. It's a Lowepro 300 AW something or other. It's a fantastic bag, and I've had it for, like probably 6 or 7 years now. And it holds pretty much everything we use on the wedding day. The other bag I run around with is this Think Tank Retrospective 10, which holds my essentials, my couple of lenses and stuff, whereas the big bag gets set up in the corner of the room most often. Inside here, I have probably the two most important items I bring to any wedding. My coffee cup, my water bottle. As I put lenses in this bag, I throw these in the big bag. I'm actually gonna take a little drink. Okay, carry on. Also in this bag, I keep a pair of headphones that zip out of this little guy right here, and they're just in-ear monitors. I use those more on video weddings than photo weddings, but just always nice to have. And I have this Expo Disc 2.0 holder. There's nothing in it right now. Sometimes it will have the Expo Disc in it. Sometimes I'll put ND filters or something in it just to protect them. And that sits right in here. Keep a stash of pens. Always handy to have that. What else? Keep a LED light, just a small one, that can use it a lot for like ring shots and stuff. It's pretty handy. This is an Aputure AMRAM AL M9 thing, and it charges through USB. It's pretty handy. I think the battery lasts like 4 hours, so it's good because like I can just throw this in my bag or on my hip thing, which I'll get to later, and it will pretty much get me through the entire wedding. I carry a little air puffer thing as well. With shooting these mirrorless cameras, the sensors get dirty pretty easily, so this comes in handy a whole heck of a lot. I mean, the other nice thing about mirrorless cameras is they're a lot easier to clean, but you can't really do that during the wedding. So the puffer gets a lot of use. And then finally in this bag, I think, in this back pocket I usually keep my detail sheet, which is my little cheat sheet that has like, you know, the timeline on it and all that stuff. We'll probably get into that later. That's an important thing. That's another episode though. I also keep a prism in here, which Katie uses the prism more than I do, but it's a good thing to play with every once in a while. And I'll show you guys what that does, except I'm a little too far from the camera, but it looks cool. Take a look at our website if you want to see what it looks like. All right, let's get that bag out of here. Let's dive into the big one. All right, so on the outside of this bag, let's switch views real quick. We have a couple A-clamps. What else do we have in here? This is a Godox S-mount thing. You can mount an umbrella on it, or you can use it as a, or you can mount a softbox on it. It takes a speed light, but it will also take an LED if you put the battery in this part, which is a pretty handy trick, and we use that quite a bit. What else do we have here? Nothing in that front pouch. Usually there's a reflector in here. I think it's actually somewhere in the studio right now. Just like a really small one. I think it's like 20 bucks on Amazon. I have this umbrella, It's a shoot-through umbrella from Westcott, I believe. It's pretty beat up. Like, you can actually see all the paint's chipping off of it. And over here I have it taped together. So I might have to replace this year. The center column is all bent up. But I use this thing a lot, especially for like family pictures and stuff. I'm a big fan of just umbrellas in general. I think they're a very good modifier. And they pack up nice and small. And I pretty much always carry one with me. Also in this front pouch, that's actually it for this front pouch other than the thing hanging out right here. Which, yep. Alright, so we have this LED light, which is a Yongnuo 360. It doesn't actually say it on here anywhere. But it's a Yongnuo 360. And this is awesome. Hang on. Let me zip open the bag real quick. Yeah. Show you the cool thing that this does. Hopefully this battery is charged. Alright, so you have tungsten. You have daylight. Also cool. Also, it looks like a lightsaber on the video, which I'm a huge fan of. You have full RGB. So if I want to be a bad Jedi, a Sith, if you will, turn it to red. Or you can dial up green, get a green light. So you can do really cool things with this, like very quickly. It's great for detail shots, great for just accent light. Yeah, you just get wild with it. It'll also take a, oh, I hate this color. DJs love this color for some reason. It'll also take a DC 12 volt, I believe, DC 8 volt input, so you can run it off of AC power if you'd like, if that's your prerogative. Use those for video a lot too. Not just wedding video either, commercial video, used as a hair light a lot. Kind of like this light up here is. Except that's actually mounted to the ceiling, because we're cool like that. Alright, let's get to the main event. So, let's dive in. So, this is the inside of the bag. As you can see, it's all kind of partitioned out. Let me get this stuff off the table. This battery goes here. We're actually, I think, oh yeah, we're missing a lens because the lens is on the camera over there. But I'll just give you a quick run through. I'll touch on this side of the bag first. So we have our 3 batteries, spare batteries. One's actually charging right now. And here I have a couple odds and ends. Actually, I have more of these red whips, which I like to wear on my wrist because they are super handy for managing wires, attaching USB battery banks to stuff. A couple of gels, which I haven't used that in probably a couple of years, but staying in there. This mirror, which is actually usually in my blue bag, that I also use for just like lens effects, like do stuff like that. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but we'll see. And that's it for this pocket, maybe? Oh, no, okay, so this is the little adapter to put that small light I had in my other bag on the camera. So it's just a little quarter 20 or hot shoe on there, and it just squeezes that light. Oh, and I keep a, come here, you. A little 5/8 to quarter 20 adapter because my light stands are all Manfrottos, which I'll take 5/8. And all of my lights and hot shoe mounts are quarter 20. So I have lots of fun with adapters. Alright, next thing we have is a super long, I think it's 12 feet USB Type-C cable, which we use for 2 things, which I'll get to. Oh, I have 2 of those. Both of them are in here. Just a little hot shoe mount thing for flash. And then I have my MagMods, which the gels aren't in here. I usually have the gels in here too. I actually melted one the other day. It was not great. So yeah, MagMods. I have 2 of the whatever you call them, mounting adapter things. And then I have 2 grids, and I have the thing that holds the gel. I don't know what any of this stuff is called. Like, I don't know what the technical name's on it. It doesn't actually say. These are the older ones too, so they're not as like, I don't know, the magnets still come out and stuff, but they're cool. I like them. I don't use them a lot. I use it for like the hairspray shot and stuff. Yeah, they're not bad. I use the gels every so often if I want a cool effect. Honestly, nowadays I mostly, if I want something to be a certain color or something like that, I just use the light stick LED I was using before. I also have a softbox that I actually made. It's in with my video stuff right now though, that the MagMod system adapts to, which actually works pretty well. I use that quite a bit. Okay, so let's start at the bottom of the bag, and we will work our way kind of up towards the top. Since I've kind of already talked about these a little bit. So this is a new purchase this year. These are the Aputure F1s, I think, or 5s maybe, who knows. They are great. They are super bright. You can dial in the actual color temperature right on the thing, and it tells you a readout in Kelvin, which is super nice. My favorite thing about these though is they are at their very brightest at 6,000 Kelvin. So usually when you want something daylight, it's because you're working with the sun, which is where you have, you know, the most amount of daylight. So yeah, I really like these. A couple other things. They're much smaller than the old lights I had, which were Yongnuo something or others. Those were nice because they had the barn doors, but this I think is just a higher quality light. Another great thing about this in particular is you can run it off of USB power with a USB-C adapter. So we'll put this up on a stand, we'll run this cord down, and then we have little USB battery banks that we'll plug it into. And it'll run for like 4 hours off of that. A nice thing about that is these Sony batteries sometimes are a little finicky and they won't charge up completely. So with the USB battery banks, we buy the Anker brand because I think they're the highest quality. You can actually see, I'll show it Instagram first. You can see the intelligent charge thing, and it shows you how much power you have left, which is pretty useful. Also, if they're up on the stand and you need to kill the light fast, you can just unplug the USB battery bank. I wish these things had a remote. I was under the impression that they came with a remote. They do not. My other Aputure light, which is giant and right over there, it does come with a remote control. It's pretty useful. It would be super useful at a wedding. In a studio, it doesn't really matter. Also in here, I keep 2 of these little Aputure ball heads. If you guys see those. These are actually 5/8, which is why they stay in my bag, because I don't have to adapt them, which is pretty nice. And they let us point the light pretty much wherever we want. And they're fairly compact. So also down here, I keep a, what is this called? Spider camera holster, Arca Swiss thing, which I mount to the bottom of my camera when I want to use that system. And that hooks into my belt right here. You can't see. It's my belt right here. Actually wear one of these on both hips in case I want, like, if I'm shooting over here, sometimes it's easier to just go straight down to that hip. I've been shooting with one camera, which is different than I'd shot in years previous, but I still like having the camera holsters on both hips. Alright, I'll take that off. We have an Expo disc that we use. Again, this is something that we use a lot more for video. With photo, you can change your white balance. We shoot raw photos, like I'm sure 99% of people do. But this is incredibly useful for video. And honestly, it's nice for photo too, if you take the time to do it. All right, what else we got in here? Oh, I got another ball mount. This is for something different. This actually mounts into a hot shoe. That'll probably be coming out. This is my favorite thing in the world. It's the Tri-Flash. This thing bears probably a full workshop day on just this, because this is like how I started doing light. Now I mostly use it as the umbrella mount for the thing on the front, or if my big light goes down, because I carry the big, what is it, Godox 600, I think, is my main light now. If I don't bring that, or like I can't get to it, this thing will become my main light with 3 flashes on it. Or if we do a wedding where we flew, like we did in November, I just bring this and a short stand. Got a little bit of gaff tape, handy dandy, always useful. This is a trick that I got from a older, wiser, more experienced photographer, is if you can get a hold of one, you can put your gaff tape on a medium format film spool, which are hard to come by nowadays, but I hung on to some from college. This is the bracket adapter thing for the 7200. It's got an Arca Swiss plate on it, because everything I have has Arca Swiss plates on it, because that is the chosen mount we use within our business. All right, moving on. I've got 3 flashes in here. There's usually 4. One's out right now because I'm taking it apart to do some stuff to it. We'll see if that works out. Hopefully I won't electrocute myself. So this is the Godox. This is actually Cheetah branded, I think. No, this is Godox branded. Oh, I must have got this from Molite. So this is the V862S light, flash, whatever. I don't know. This is the most important thing about this light, is it uses an ion lithium battery instead of AAA batteries, and they're amazing. If you haven't invested in a flash system, I would look very carefully at this system, because it's incredible. The radio works with all the different lights. They also work cross-brand. So when I was switching from Sony to Nikon, I was able to still use my my Nikon flashes from my Sony hot shoe flash, command them. So that made that transition so much easier. And then they also make these small flashes, which also work within the system. And also take a ion lithium battery. So your recycle time is insanely fast. And honestly, I think I've had 1 die at a wedding where I had to switch batteries. So I keep 1 extra battery just in case. One thing to watch out for, though, they will overheat, in which case I just switch batteries or turn it off for a couple minutes. It's usually fine. This is awesome. This little light is great, especially with the mirrorless cameras. The problem I have with it is it will only go that far to the left. Like, it'll go all the way to the back to the right. So I have another one of these that's AA powered that I'm currently letting the capacitor drain so I can take it apart, so I can see if I can like grind away whatever is stopping it from turning this way. It's something that we used to have to do with the SB800s. So it should be pretty easy to do, but I don't want to electrocute myself and die. So you just let the capacitor drain over a couple of weeks without any batteries in it. What else do we have in here? So we've gotten through this stuff. We got a bunch of these batteries, which are the NPF style batteries. Oh, this is a cool one. So this is the same thing. This is also a USB battery bank. And yeah, and it'll give you DC 12 volt, which is pretty cool. So you can use it 9 volt out of this, 12 volt out of the top, or 5 volt from the USB. And that's, I think, on Amazon. It works pretty well. I use that a lot when I'm doing video. I'll plug that in the recorder and have it run down to the camera, so it's powering both the recorder and the camera. Okay, so let's get to the cameras themselves. You'll see I have a lot of these straps. This is one of the things that we also do, is we switch between the Arca Swiss, what do you call it, spider clip thing. I use that a lot. Katie just uses the straps. So we have these Peak Design straps that you can put on the cameras and pull off the cameras really easily, which is really nice because sometimes I want a strap, sometimes I don't. With the strap on for video is nice because you can use it as, you know, an extra 2 points of stabilization. For photo, sometimes it gets in the way. Especially it gets like tangled in the, oh, my camera turned off up there. That's weird. Hang on. Let's fix that real quick. Oh, I think it overheated. Sony's. All right. Oh, no, it's alive. Let's see if it still works. All right. So with this is the A9. This is my primary camera. I shoot all of my weddings on it nowadays. It's got a couple marks on the screen, no big deal. It also has this small rig grip, which I like because it's a little bit longer than the RSS plate that I initially had. And I didn't think I would like it, but I'm shooting a lot with like 7200 or the Sigma 24, Sigma 1.4 or 24 1.4, also from Sigma, which are big heavy lenses. So just having that little bit of your palm against that helps offset that pretty nicely. So we got one A9, we've got an A7 III, and we've got a second A7 III, and this is actually Katie's. You can tell because it has blue and silver, which I don't know if those are like her colors or something, or I don't know. I've been getting her everything in blue and silver, just so we know. So hopefully she likes that color. Usually I'll also have the A6500, just in this case as a backup camera, but that's the one that I'm currently filming for you non-Instagram people, for you Facebook people. Cool. So that is all that. Now we're into maybe my favorite part of like a photo bag. Like, cameras are cool, but lenses are the best. All right, let's start. Let me put this stuff away, get it out of the shot. Let's start with the boring lenses. We'll start with the Sony zoom lenses. So we have the 16-35 2.8. It's okay. It's pretty good. It gets the job done. It's nice when I need something wider than 24. It's a little bit too slow for what I like to, or how I like to shoot. But yeah, it's pretty good. And then we have the lens I think every wedding photographer owns at some point in their career, which is the 7200. And I absolutely despise the fact that it is white. I wish that it was black, like every other lens I own. I don't know why they went for this like Canon white lens thing. I think, yeah, there's something to be said about like heat dissipation or something, but I don't like it. I might actually get a skin that's black just because I don't like standing out. I like shooting inconspicuously. We also have a bag of ND filters in here. More for video again, but you can do some cool stuff with like long exposures and flash and that kind of stuff. All right, let's keep going with the Sony stuff. We have the Sony 55-1.8. It's a pretty nice little 50 millimeter. It renders pretty beautifully, you know. Zeiss is not too bad. So yeah, it's a good 50. It's very light. Katie's taken this. It's now, I think, her primary lens. We also have the, not that one. We're not getting to those yet. Yeah, there it is. 85-1.8. also from Sony. This is actually, I think, a better lens than the 55, specifically because the focus throw on it feels more natural. The 55's focus throw is that like focus by wire. This is too, but this at least feels linear. Linear. What else do we have in here? Oh, so normally the 28, 2.8, 2.0 actually would be in here, but that is on the A6500, which is filming. Moving through, I think that's all the Sony lenses I have on me. So we'll get to the stranger things now. So 51.4 Sigma. This is probably my favorite lens. It's incredibly sharp. It's very fast, and it is beautiful. It's also just kind of a honking lens. I think it's around the same weight as 7200, maybe not quite that heavy. It's probably the same weight as the 1635 though. Can't get it mounted on my gimbal, no matter how hard I try. I've gotten the 24 to work a little bit, but yeah, this one, impossible. Guess I'll have to get a better gimbal. So, yeah, great lens. Probably shoot I definitely shoot the majority of my wedding images on it. I don't know the exact statistic, but I'd bet it would be 70s. We shoot a lot in like 7200 too, just ceremony stuff. Although actually, Katie shoots mostly with the 7200 now. Let me take that off so it stows down nice. Batteries. I did the math today. We have, when we do a video wedding, we have 7 different kinds of batteries in our bag, which is too many. I'd like to get that pared down a little bit better to like 4. We already did that lens. So yeah, it's nice with the flashes because we don't have to worry too much about batteries anymore. We used to have to switch AA's like every half hour or so, which was just a pain. I used to bring like 4 of these, 5 of these. Sigma 2414. I basically got this so that way when I'm at a reception, I don't have to, it's about the same way and it feels about the same, so it's a nice switch between the 50 and the 24 at the reception. Okay, now this is an awesome lens. I'll get to this thing in a second. So, this is the 135 from Sigma, which is a 1.8 lens. And it's beautiful, and I love it. Super bright, great isolation. This thing is awesome for ceremonies. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. The way we do ceremonies is Katie starts with the 135, I start with the 7200, and then we switch lenses, and I stay in the middle with this guy. And like, I've been loving the images we get out of it. There's so much more separation between like the bride and the groom and the officiant than there is when you're shooting at 2.8. Like noticeably. This is a pouch. It sits in my bag most of the time, unless I just want to have like one lens switch, in which case I'll put my blue bag down and I'll switch to this. This is amazing for the receptions because I'll just have my 50 on the camera and my 24 in here, or vice versa, and I can switch very rapidly from one to the other. I just dump the other lens in this bag. Keep my expo disc in here or in the blue bag, depending on how I'm doing it. The last couple weddings I've actually just been wearing this the whole time because really, like, if I don't have a lens in it, it packs pretty flat against my body, and that just sits right here in my back. I like to keep the 135 in it because this lens is very close to the I don't know, to the ground otherwise, so just a little bit more protection. Which brings us to the only trick lens that I use. Trick lens, I don't know. It's a what is this? It's a Nikon PC 35mm 2.8. So PC stands for perspective correction. So it does funky things like that. However, we also have a Kipton tilt Nikon to Sony adapter, which does tilt. So this will do tilt and shift. And it's a very small tilt shift lens that works pretty freaking well. So let me attach this. I'll show you. So you can see, like, if I look at you guys straight on, I don't even know if that's obvious, that it's tilted and shifted, but it's pretty obvious when you see the photos. So because it's not a, proper tilt shift lens, you don't get like infinity focus all the time, so you have to kind of finagle whether you want it to be at minimum focus or maximum focus. And it's a tricky lens, but it's a lot of fun to use. It's also just kind of cool. It's really good for detail shots too, if you want like the ring in focus, but you also want, like, say, a card in focus or something. The actual point of a tilt shift lens to get your plane of focus shifted, but also cool wedding photo pictures. Yeah, so I think that's just about it. So, like, the standard way we organize is lighting here, cameras here, lenses up here. Oh, a card wallet. Think Tank card wallet. Very important. Don't want to run out of memory during a wedding. That would not be good for anyone. I lost the camera. There it is. Cool. Yeah, so that is my camera bag. That's everything that we... Nope. The feed's a little laggy. I don't know what that's about, but luckily it's the end of the video, so I don't really have to worry about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Day 18 is tomorrow. I don't know what we'll be covering, but I'm sure it'll be fun. So join me tomorrow when we continue the 90-day wedding photographers workshop. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Instagram, you're going to have to stick with me a little bit longer as I end the Facebook live stream. There we go.